Welcome to Ancient Stoic Secrets. Here, we don't just talk about philosophy, we uncover timeless principles that help men live with strength, clarity, and purpose. If you've ever wondered why some men effortlessly capture a woman's attention without chasing, without begging, without needing flashy looks or wealth, then this message is for you. Because attraction, in its deepest form, isn't about what you buy, what you achieve, or how loudly you perform. It's about presence. It's about the quiet strength you radiate when you know who you are and refuse to apologize for existing. Think about it. How many men waste years trying to prove themselves with gifts, compliments, or endless effort, only to end up frustrated when nothing lasts? The truth is, women aren't drawn to the man who tries the hardest. They're drawn to the man who simply is. The one who moves through the world with calm certainty, who doesn't need approval because he already owns his space. That magnetic energy is something the ancient Stoics understood long before modern psychology confirmed it. So in today's video, we're going to explore powerful Stoic habits that make a man truly unforgettable. Habits that shift how women respond to you before you even speak a word. But more importantly, these aren't just tricks to attract someone else. They are principles that transform you, building a life of self-respect, stability, and purpose. And that's the real secret. When you stop chasing and start embodying, attraction becomes effortless. Gentlemen, get ready. This is not about pretending. It's about becoming. 1. Stop apologizing for existing. Let's start with a habit that silently kills attraction, apologizing for simply being yourself. Too many men fall into this trap. They say sorry not because they've actually done something wrong, but because deep down they don't feel entitled to take up space. It sounds polite on the surface, but in reality it signals insecurity. And insecurity is the fastest way to drain a woman's desire. Picture this. A man walks into a room and constantly apologizes. Sorry for asking, sorry for interrupting, sorry if this sounds silly. Every unnecessary sorry chips away at his presence. Instead of radiating strength, he announces self-doubt. Women might tolerate it for a while, but they rarely feel attraction toward it. Because attraction isn't built on hesitation, it's built on confidence. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." That's the heart of this principle. Stop apologizing for existing. Start owning your space. This doesn't mean ignoring accountability. A real man takes responsibility when he's wrong, but there's a difference between genuine accountability and compulsive apologizing. One builds respect, the other destroys it. So here's a challenge. Catch yourself the next time sorry tries to slip out when you've done nothing wrong. Instead of saying, "Sorry I'm late," try, "Thanks for waiting." Instead of, "Sorry to bother you," say, "Do you have a moment?" These subtle shifts carry enormous weight. You may not notice the difference immediately, but women will feel it. You'll project calmness, certainty, and self-respect, 3 qualities that women instinctively find magnetic. Ask yourself this: are you apologizing because you made a mistake or because you doubt your worth? The moment you stop apologizing for simply existing is the moment you begin to carry yourself like a man who believes in his own value. And when you do, attraction starts to flow naturally. 2. Lead, don't chase. The second principle builds directly on the first. Stop chasing, start leading. Chasing is what most men do when they're afraid of losing a woman's attention. They send the first text every time, plan every date, and overextend themselves just to keep her interested. On the surface, it looks like effort, but underneath, it screams insecurity. The harder you chase, the faster she runs. Leading, on the other hand, flows from confidence. It's not about control, it's about clarity and direction. A man who leads says, "This is where I'm going. You're welcome to join me." His life doesn't stop if she says no. That energy is incredibly attractive because it communicates certainty. It shows that his worth isn't tied to her approval. Think about the difference between these two approaches. A man who texts, "Please tell me when you're free, I'll work around your schedule," is chasing. A man who says, "I'm trying out a new place Thursday at 8, join me if you'd like," is leading. One pleads for her time, the other offers her an opportunity. Women can feel the difference immediately. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." When you're chasing, you're a prisoner to her attention. Your emotions rise and fall based on her text messages. But when you lead, you remain grounded. You take ownership of your role as a man who sets direction and creates the frame. That's the kind of energy women naturally lean toward. Leadership also applies to emotions. If she brings drama, a leader doesn't get dragged into the storm. He remains steady, guiding the tone of the interaction. That stability is what makes her trust him more. So here's the mindset shift. Instead of, "How can I get her to like me?" start asking, "How can I invite her into the life I'm already building?" That shift removes desperation and replaces it with purpose. Women don't dream of men who beg for attention. They dream of men who stand firm in who they are, men who know where they're going. Be that man. Lead your life and watch attraction follow naturally. 3. Attraction without neediness. One of the greatest killers of attraction is neediness. Most men don't realize it until it's too late. They believe showing more attention, sending more texts, or approving more effort will strengthen the bond. In reality, this clingy energy suffocates desire. Women can sense when you need them more than you want them, and the moment they feel that pressure, the mystery vanishes. Attraction thrives in freedom, not in dependency. Think about Alex, a talented software developer in New York. At first, his relationship with Claire seemed full of chemistry, but soon he slipped into the trap of checking his phone every few minutes, sending, "Did you see my text?" or constantly asking, "Do you still like me?" What he thought was care, she felt as pressure. Within weeks, her interest faded. But when Alex stopped centering his world around Claire, focusing again on his passions, fitness, and friendships, something shifted. He carried himself lighter, calmer, more independent. That energy drew Claire back, curious about the man who no longer clung to her approval.
This is what the Stoics called self-sufficiency. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, a man's worth is no greater than the worth of his ambitions. If your biggest ambition is to get the girl, you lower your own value. But if your ambition is growth, creation, and living fully, you radiate strength that women can feel immediately. So ask yourself, are you acting out of genuine desire or out of a need for validation? A man who desires says, "I'd love for you to be here." A needy man says, "I can't be whole without you." And women will always choose the first. The truth is, when you stop needing her, that's when she starts needing more of you. 4. Seek interest, not approval. Let's move to another common mistake men make, chasing approval instead of sparking interest. Approval feels safe. She might say you're nice or smile politely at your jokes, but approval is shallow. It's permission, not passion. It doesn't keep her up at night. It doesn't make her crave you. Interest, on the other hand, is dangerous. It carries curiosity, tension, and desire. Think of the men who constantly adjust themselves. If she looks bored, they tell another story. If she doesn't laugh, they switch topics. If she seems distant, they buy another drink. That's approval seeking. And here's the problem. When you live for approval, you give her the power to decide your worth. You're waiting for her stamp of validation before you believe you're enough. The Stoics warned against this centuries ago. Epictetus wrote, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." In other words, stop shaping yourself to please others. True growth and true attraction come from authenticity. Now imagine the opposite, a man who isn't desperate to impress. He's grounded, playful, and comfortable in his own skin. He sparks curiosity because he's not bending to fit her mood. Women sense this difference. They may not say it out loud, but they feel the spark between approval and interest. Approval is flat. Interest has tension. So here's the paradox. The less you chase approval, the more she feels real attraction. The moment you stop asking, "Am I enough?" and start declaring, "This is who I am," she feels something deeper. Attraction isn't born from compliance. It's born from presence, energy, and a man who radiates value without needing her permission. So ask yourself, are you collecting compliments or creating connection? Because one leaves you safe but forgettable. The other makes you unforgettable. 5. The power of calm desire. Many men believe desire must be loud and fiery, big jokes, bold gestures, constant energy. They think attraction grows with noise, but the truth is, desire that burns too hot fades quickly. What lasts, what truly draws a woman in, is calm desire. It's the quiet energy that says, I want you, but I'm not losing myself in the process. This steadiness is what creates trust and mystery. Imagine Daniel on a date. He talks too fast, laughs too hard, and fills every silence hoping to impress. But instead of sparking chemistry, he creates pressure. Now picture another Daniel. He slows his pace, listens fully, and lets silences breathe. His steady gaze and relaxed posture make her feel safe. Which one do you think she remembers? Always the second. Calm desire communicates control. It shows you act with intention, not desperation. Women sense this instantly. They lean closer to the man who doesn't flood them with frantic energy, but gives them space to relax into his presence. Even Marcus Aurelius observed, the nearer a man comes to a calm mind, the closer he is to strength. Think about your own life. Have you ever met someone who didn't try hard, yet their quiet presence stayed with you for days? That's calm desire at work. It's not about doing more, it's about being centered. When you master it, you no longer chase. You create an atmosphere she wants to step into. So ask yourself, do you bring pressure or peace into your interactions? The answer may decide whether you are remembered or forgotten. 6. Be the poet. Now let's talk about a habit most men overlook. Becoming the poet. Not in the sense of reciting verses or memorizing Shakespeare, but in the way you express depth and make her feel something beyond logic. Because attraction doesn't live in the brain, it lives in the heart. Most men rely on facts and achievements. They talk about their job title, their plans, or the things they own, believing this will impress. But logic alone doesn't stir attraction. Emotion does. The poet doesn't just describe life, he paints it. Instead of saying, the sunset looks nice tonight, he says, the sky looks like it's on fire tonight. Instead of asking, how was your day? He asks, what moment today made you laugh without holding back? One is flat, the other opens a doorway into connection. The Stoics knew that words are powerful only when they come from presence. Epictetus once said, first say to yourself what you would be, then do what you have to do. A poet's words aren't tricks, they're reflections of his awareness, his attention, his ability to notice beauty and share it with honesty. Think about it. Women rarely remember exact sentences. They remember how you made them feel. Have you ever recalled a simple phrase from someone, not because it was clever, but because it resonated? That's the essence of being the poet. Ordinary words carrying extraordinary weight. Being the poet isn't about drama. It's about slowing down, noticing, and letting silence give weight to your words. It's about asking deeper questions and listening fully. The paradox is when you stop trying so hard to impress, your presence naturally inspires. You don't chase, you create resonance. So here's the question. Are your words noise or are they music? The answer could change how deeply people connect with you. 7. Presence over words. Many men think attraction is about saying the right thing, using clever lines, or keeping the conversation alive at all costs. But what women remember most is rarely the words. They remember how they felt in your presence. Presence is what lingers long after the conversation ends. It speaks louder than rehearsed lines, and it can't be faked. Take Daniel, for example. He's witty, intelligent, and can keep a conversation flowing. On the surface, his dates seem successful, but he can't stand silence, so he fills every pause with chatter. It looks lively, yet underneath it feels hollow. He's performing, not connecting. Now compare this to Ethan. Ethan doesn't talk much at first. He listens, asks thoughtful questions, and maintains steady, relaxed eye contact. His calm energy makes her feel safe, seen, and valued. Guess who leaves the stronger impression? Always Ethan, the man who was present, not the man who performed.
Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. If your inner world is frantic, she feels it, no matter how confident your words sound. If your mind is steady, grounded, and purposeful, she senses it before you even speak." Presence is not about silence. It's about depth. When you truly listen, when you let your words carry weight instead of rushing, you create an atmosphere where attraction naturally grows. Ask yourself, do you talk to fill space, or do you allow space to deepen connection?
Women don't want a man who entertains them like an audience. They want a man whose presence makes them feel calm, alive, and seen. Presence is the real language of attraction. 8. Master the power of silence. If presence is powerful, silence is its sharpest edge. Yet most men fear silence. They scramble to fill every pause, terrified she might lose interest if the air isn't filled with words. But here's the truth. Silence is not weakness. Silence is your weapon. It communicates confidence on a level words cannot reach. Imagine sitting across from someone who can hold eye contact, breathe calmly, and let silence stretch without panic. That man radiates strength. He's not begging for validation. He's showing he's comfortable in his own skin. And women feel this immediately. A pause, a quiet smile, a slow nod. These small moments can create more intrigue than 100 clever lines. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "Silence is safer than speech." He didn't mean never speak. He meant silence protects you from exposing insecurity, from saying things you don't truly mean. In relationships, silence creates space. It allows her to lean in, to invest, to wonder about you. When you resist the urge to break tension, you actually give attraction room to grow. Think about it. When you do speak after a moment of silence, your words carry 10 times more weight. Instead of being lost in noise, they land with precision. That's the power of silence. It multiplies your presence. So here's a challenge. Practice being still in your next conversation. Don't rush to fill every pause. Let her curiosity rise. Let her step into the space you've created. Ask yourself, do you fear silence or do you master it? The difference could decide whether you're just another man she forgets or the one she keeps thinking about. 9. Stillness creates fire. Most men think attraction comes from doing more, talking more, moving more, showing off more. But the paradox is that sometimes the greatest spark comes from doing less. Stillness has a magnetic force. When a man is calm, steady, and unshaken, it radiates confidence that cannot be faked. This quiet strength draws people in, especially women, because it signals control and inner certainty. Picture Ethan at a rooftop lounge in Los Angeles. Instead of nervously scanning the room or trying to dominate every conversation, he leans back, relaxed, simply observing. When Mia walks over, he doesn't rush to impress. He listens. He allows pauses. His energy is steady, almost unbothered, and that alone makes Mia lean closer, intrigued. What captured her attention wasn't noise, it was stillness. Too many men mistake stillness for passivity. They think doing less means being boring, but real stillness is intentional. It's holding your ground, letting tension rise, and resisting the urge to break it. That tension creates heat. It makes her wonder about you, and curiosity fuels attraction. The Stoics knew this. To them, mastery of the self was the ultimate strength. A man who is calm in stillness is not empty. He is full of energy, but it's directed inward, not scattered outward. And that concentration of energy becomes a flame others can feel. Ask yourself, do you rush to prove your worth, or can you hold still and let your energy speak for itself? The men who master stillness ignite attraction without trying. They don't chase the fire, they become it. 10. Become unforgettable without trying. Every man wants to be remembered. Many believe the way to do it is through performance, louder jokes, flashier stories, bigger gestures. But what's unforgettable isn't the noise, it's the feeling you leave behind. Women may forget your words, but they never forget how they felt in your presence. Robert learned this the hard way. For years, he relied on humor to win approval. Women enjoyed his company, but rarely stayed. It wasn't until he stopped performing, listening more, speaking less, and grounding himself in calm strength that something changed. Suddenly, women remembered him long after the date ended. What lingered wasn't his jokes, it was his composure, his steady gaze, his quiet confidence. The Stoic Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." If your inner world is strong and steady, people feel it in every interaction. You don't need to force memorability. You simply become it. Being unforgettable is not about addition, it's about subtraction. It's removing the need to prove, the desperation to impress. When you stop chasing approval and simply embody who you are, you leave a mark that lasts far longer than any performance. Think back. Who are the people you remember most? Often, it's not the loudest, but the calmest. The ones whose energy made you feel safe, inspired, or alive. That's the secret. Being unforgettable is about presence, not performance. So here's the question. Are you exhausting yourself trying to be remembered, or are you embodying the kind of man who cannot be forgotten? 11. The habit of self-mastery. At the core of Stoicism lies one principle that separates ordinary men from extraordinary ones: self-mastery. Women aren't drawn to men who try to control others. They're drawn to men who control themselves. A man who can command his emotions, discipline his mind, and remain steady no matter the storm radiates a rare strength. That steadiness becomes magnetic because it's so uncommon in a world where most people are reactive. Imagine two scenarios. In the first, a man is easily provoked. If she's late, he snaps. If she pulls away, he panics. If life disappoints him, he collapses. In the second, a man notices the same frustrations but responds with calmness. He acknowledges the irritation, yet doesn't let it rule him. Which one earns more respect, more attraction, and more trust? Always the second. Because true confidence is revealed not when life goes smoothly, but when it tests you. Marcus Aurelius lived through plagues, wars, and betrayals, yet he wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Women feel this strength instantly. They sense when a man isn't swayed by every emotion, but instead anchors himself in clarity.
So ask yourself, do you own your emotions, or do your emotions own you? Do you react, or do you respond with intention? Every time you choose composure over chaos, you build trust, attraction, and respect. Self-mastery is not about being cold or distant. It's about getting powerful enough to choose your response. And that power, gentlemen, is irresistible. Number 12, live with purpose, not performance. If there's one Stoic habit that makes a man unforgettable, it's this: living with purpose. Too many men live as performers, shaping themselves to please, chasing approval, hoping to be chosen. But a man with purpose doesn't need to chase. His direction speaks louder than his words. He knows where he's going, and that clarity is magnetic. Think about it. A man whose only ambition is getting the girl places his worth in someone else's hands. But a man who builds, creates, and pursues something greater than himself radiates a different energy. Women feel it immediately. He's not desperate for validation because his life already has meaning. His path invites her in, but it doesn't stop without her. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "A man's worth is no greater than the worth of his ambitions. If your ambition is small, your presence will feel small. But if your ambition is growth, service, or mastery, you bring that fire into every interaction." That's why purpose is more attractive than performance. It cannot be faked. Ask yourself, what are you building that's bigger than yourself? Are you chasing applause, or are you walking a path that inspires others to follow? Women don't want men who simply perform. They want men who stand for something. Purpose gives you that power. The truth is, attraction isn't about being louder or flashier. It's about being so centered in your mission that she feels drawn to be part of it. Live with purpose and you won't need to chase anyone. Your presence will naturally pull the right people closer. Gentlemen, let's pause and reflect. Over the course of this journey, we've explored habits that go far beyond dating advice. These Stoic principles, presence, calm desire, silence, self-mastery, and purpose aren't tricks to impress women. They are timeless foundations for becoming a man of depth and integrity. Attraction is simply the byproduct of that transformation. When you embody strength without arrogance, calm without passivity, and purpose without desperation, you naturally become unforgettable. The truth is, women are not drawn to performance. They're drawn to authenticity. They're not searching for the loudest voice in the room, but for the man whose silence carries weight. They don't crave endless approval seeking, but a presence that inspires trust. Every time you choose self-mastery over reaction, clarity over confusion, purpose over performance, you step into the rare kind of masculinity the Stoics taught for centuries. But this journey isn't just about women. It's about you, about how you show up in your career, your friendships, your family, and your own mind. Attraction is only one part of the equation. The deeper reward is knowing you've become a man who respects himself, because when you respect yourself, the world can't help but notice. So I'll leave you with this question. Are you living to impress, or are you living with intention? The first path exhausts you, the second empowers you, and the choice, every single day, is yours. If this message spoke to you, I invite you to take the next step. Subscribe to Ancient Stoic Secrets and join a community of men committed to growth, strength, and wisdom. Together we rise, not by chasing approval, but by embodying the calm, steady presence that defines true masculinity. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and let's continue this journey. Because your best life isn't out there, waiting. It's being built by the man you decide to become today.